A man is walking down the street when suddenly a bag full of money falls from the sky right in front of him. After the initial shock and excitement, he starts wondering what he should do with it. Should he buy a house, buy a car, travel the world, or try something completely new? Hesitating between the two options, he finally decided to allocate $800 million to establish a small business. His decision is what the concept of investment all about. It's the act of sacrificing resources in the present in order to carry out certain activities with the expectation of obtaining greater returns in the future than the resources initially invested. In this case, he is willing to sacrifice the immediate consumption of that $800 million to invest in a small business, hoping to generate larger profits in the future. Time flies. His business has grown tremendously, owning a magnificent chain of stores nationwide. At that time, with ever-increasing ambitions, his business began to harbor plans to expand into an international corporation. After years of expansion, his company has become a leading conglomerate with a strong presence in many countries. But he wants more. His next target is Country A, a high-standard market with huge profit potential. His first idea was simple: produce at home and export to Country A. But the math doesn't work. High import taxes will destroy their profits. Traditional exporting is not a viable option. Since exporting fails, they must switch to a bigger strategy: international investment. This means moving their capital to another country. It includes not just money, but also machinery and technology to achieve long-term growth abroad. To fully control our business in this new market, we chose FDI, Foreign Direct Investment. Instead of just buying stocks from afar, we will invest directly, build factories, open branches, and run the business ourselves. FDI has 3 key features. First, direct control. We run the business and make every decision ourselves. Second, long-term commitment. We are here to stay, build factories, and create a lasting brand. Third, full transfer. We don't just bring money. We bring our best technology and management skills to build a complete business ecosystem from scratch. The first strategy is greenfield investment, building a business completely from zero in a foreign market. This gives the company full control over factories, employees, and technology security. Greenfield can also bring tax benefits and land incentives from the local government. But time becomes the biggest problem. Legal approvals and construction can take many years. Before the factory's finished, competitors may already dominate the market. The greenfield plan is eventually rejected. Then a faster option appears: M&A, buying or merging with an existing company overseas. With M&A, factories, distribution systems, and customers are already available from day one. If the company owns more than 51% of shares, it gains control over business operations and strategic decisions. However, cultural conflicts and hidden financial risks can create serious challenges after the acquisition. After comparing both strategies, the corporation finally chooses M&A as the faster path to enter the foreign market. By acquiring an existing company, the business can begin expanding its operations internationally. Once the investment strategy is approved, the real transfer begins. Millions of dollars, modern machinery, and production equipment are sent to the new overseas market. But FDI is more than just capital and machines. Companies also transfer technology, management experience, and valuable know-how, the invisible assets that create long-term global competitiveness. The company's overseas branches are performing extremely well. Profits from different countries are flowing back to the headquarters every day. With so much foreign currency coming in, the company now has a new challenge: how to make even more money from this growing global capital. The company no longer wants to rely only on direct investment. Instead, it begins building a global financial network using international portfolio investment and international private loans. Capital is now moving across borders faster than ever before. In New York, London, Tokyo, traders buy and sell financial assets every second, reacting instantly to market news, interest rates, and economic trends. Instead of building factories or directly controlling businesses overseas, many investors choose a faster and more flexible strategy. They use their extra foreign currency to purchase international stocks, government bonds, and investment funds across different countries. This type of investment is called foreign portfolio investment, or FPI. FPI allows investors to earn profits from rising stock prices, dividends, and financial returns without managing the companies themselves. One of the biggest advantages of FPI is speed. Capital can move rapidly from one market to another whenever better opportunities appear. Besides investing in stocks and bonds, multinational companies also participate in international lending activities. This is called international private loans, or IPL. Instead of buying company shares, the corporation lends money directly to foreign businesses and large infrastructure projects. To maximize profit, corporations often raise money in developed countries, where interest rates are relatively low. They then lend that capital to businesses in developing countries, where interest rates are higher. The goal is simple: borrow money at a lower cost and lend it at a higher rate to earn profit from the interest difference. Together, FDI, FPI, and IPL create a massive global network of international capital flows. This represents the core nature of private international investment, where private companies, multinational corporations, investment funds, international banks, and wealthy investors move capital across borders to maximize profits and expand global business activities. Unlike public international investment, such as ODA, these investments are driven mainly by private entities and market opportunities. The ultimate goal of private international investment is simple: maximize profits and reduce risks. Private capital naturally moves toward countries and markets with higher returns and better business opportunities. Companies also move investments to places with lower production costs to increase profitability. Investors prefer countries with stable legal systems that can protect and grow their capital safely. Unlike government aid, private investment flows are driven mainly by profit, efficiency, and financial security. Are there any international capital flows that move across borders without seeking commercial profit? The answer is yes. International capital flows are not solely driven by profit. There are capital flows that move for humanitarian goals, such as poverty alleviation. But there are also capital flows with darker political purposes aimed at increasing influence. This investment relationship typically takes place directly between nations and international organizations. And its most common form is ODA, Official Development Assistance, originating after World War II with the U.S. Marshall Plan to help rebuild Europe. ODA emerged as a critical tool for wealthy nations to help reconstruct war-torn countries and stimulate the global economy. But what exactly is ODA? ODA stands for Official Development Assistance. It must be official, provided by governments or international organizations, such as the WB, IMF, or ADB. It aimed at development, promoting economic and social development, not military purposes, and contains a clear assistance, highly concessional, with extremely low interest rates, long repayment terms of up to 20 to 40 years, and a grant component. ODA is divided into several types based on two main criteria: repayment method and level of conditionality. By repayment method, we have grants, non-repayable, no need to pay back, often used for healthcare, education, or disaster relief. Concessional loans must be repaid, but with extremely low interest rates, usually below 1% per year, and very long repayment terms. And mixed ODA, a combination of both forms within the same project.
By level of conditionality, there are two types. Tied ODA. The recipient country must use the funds to buy goods or hire contractors from the donor country. And untied ODA. The recipient country is free to conduct international bidding and choose the best partner.
ODA appears as an angel, but its nature is like a coin that always has two sides. On the positive side, ODA provides the recipient country with immediate capital to build schools, bridges, and roads. At the same time, it helps the donor country enhance its diplomatic standing and expand cooperative markets. But on the flip side, it becomes a debt burden for the recipient country, often accompanied by strict political conditions or requirements to use outdated technology from the donor country. Meanwhile, donor countries face the risk of capital loss and pressure from domestic public opinion. In summary, if private capital flows are a straightforward buyer-seller game driven by profit, then ODA is more like a geopolitical chessboard full of calculations beneath a humanitarian facade. Businesses aiming to go global must learn to dance between both of these complex flows in order to survive and break through. So, where is this overall picture heading, and what trends are shaping its shifts? Let's move on to the next part.
As globalization continues expanding, the world economy becomes more interconnected than ever before. Goods, services, technology, and capital now move rapidly across borders, connecting countries through global trade and investment networks. In this increasingly competitive environment, international investment gradually emerges as one of the key driving forces behind modern economic development.
As global economic integration deepens, capital no longer remains within national borders. Large amounts of investment begin flowing from developed economies toward developing countries in search of new opportunities, lower costs, and expanding markets. At the same time, developing nations actively attract foreign capital to accelerate industrialization and economic growth. For multinational corporations, investing abroad offers many strategic advantages. Companies can reduce production costs, access cheaper labor, secure raw materials, and expand into new consumer markets. As international competition becomes increasingly intense, overseas investment gradually transforms from an option into an essential strategy for long-term business survival and global competitiveness. While investors search for profits and market opportunities, developing countries welcome foreign investment as a powerful engine for economic development. Foreign capital helps governments build infrastructure, expand industrial zones, create employment opportunities, and modernize production systems. For many nations, attracting international investment becomes a central strategy for national growth and transformation. Among the many forms of international investment, foreign direct investment, or FDI, plays the most significant role. In this form, multinational corporations directly establish factories, offices, or business operations in another country and actively participate in management activities. Through FDI, host countries receive not only financial capital, but also technology, management skills, and international business experience. Besides direct investment, portfolio investment also contributes significantly to the global financial system. Investors purchase foreign stocks, bonds, and financial assets, mainly to earn profits without directly controlling business operations. This form of investment increases international capital mobility and strengthens the connection between financial markets around the world. International investment also includes cross-border lending activities. Governments, corporations, and financial institutions often borrow foreign capital to finance infrastructure projects, industrial expansion, and economic development programs. These international loans provide important financial resources, especially for countries facing shortages of domestic investment capital. For investing countries, overseas investment creates opportunities to strengthen economic influence on a global scale. By expanding production networks internationally, multinational corporations can increase profits, secure strategic resources, and improve their competitive positions. In many cases, economic expansion through investment also contributes to technological leadership and geopolitical influence. International investment allows corporations to enter foreign markets more effectively and overcome traditional trade barriers. Instead of relying only on exports, companies establish production facilities directly inside overseas markets in order to reduce transportation costs, improve efficiency, and better satisfy local consumer demand. As a result, businesses can strengthen their global market presence and increase international sales. Another major motivation behind international investment is access to resources. Many corporations invest abroad to secure raw materials, energy supplies, agricultural products, and low-cost labor. By operating near important resources and production inputs, companies can reduce operating expenses and maintain stable supply chains in highly competitive industries. One of the most important contributions of international investment is the transfer of technology and management knowledge. Through cooperation with foreign corporations, local workers and engineers gain access to modern production systems, international standards, and advanced management techniques. Over time, this process helps improve labor productivity and technological capabilities in developing economies. As foreign corporations establish factories and business operations, millions of employment opportunities are created for local workers. Industrial zones expand rapidly, attracting large numbers of employees into manufacturing and service industries. Stable jobs and higher incomes not only improve living standards, but also contribute significantly to poverty reduction and economic development. Foreign investment also accelerates the process of industrialization and modernization in developing countries. Economies gradually shift from agriculture-based structures toward industrial and service-oriented systems. Alongside rising investment inflows, transportation networks, urban infrastructure, and industrial cities continue expanding at a remarkable pace. Despite its many advantages, international investment can also create serious challenges for host countries. Rapid industrial expansion may lead to environmental pollution, resource exploitation, and unfair business practices such as transfer pricing. At the same time, domestic enterprises often struggle to compete against powerful multinational corporations with superior capital and technology. Overdependence on foreign investment may weaken the long-term competitiveness of developing economies. If local industries fail to improve their technological capabilities and production capacity, national economic growth may become heavily dependent on external capital and decisions made by foreign corporations. This creates significant risks for long-term economic stability and independence. Because international investment creates both opportunities and risks, governments play a critical role in regulating investment activities. Countries must establish effective legal systems, transparent investment policies, and sustainable development strategies in order to attract high-quality investment while still protecting national economic interests and maintaining economic stability. Today, countries no longer focus only on rapid economic growth. Modern investment strategies increasingly emphasize sustainability, environmental protection, and social responsibility. Governments around the world are now working to balance economic development with long-term environmental and social stability in order to create a more sustainable future for the next generations. The world economy is becoming increasingly unstable. After global crises and geopolitical conflicts, international supply chains begin facing serious disruptions. Rising transportation costs and economic uncertainty force multinational corporations to rethink their entire investment strategy. As risks continue growing, corporations start searching for safer and more flexible production networks. Companies gradually shift their attention toward emerging economies in Asia, where investment opportunities are expanding rapidly. This movement soon leads to the rise of the China Plus One strategy. Instead of concentrating production entirely in China, many corporations begin relocating part of their manufacturing activities to countries such as Vietnam,
India, and Indonesia in order to reduce risks and diversify supply chains. Among these emerging destinations, Vietnam quickly attracts global attention. With political stability, a strategic geographic location, and a rapidly growing manufacturing sector, the country gradually becomes one of the most promising investment hubs in Southeast Asia. At the same time, global investment priorities also begin changing. Environmental sustainability becomes an increasingly important concern, pushing corporations to invest more heavily in renewable energy, green factories, and environmentally friendly production systems. Alongside the green transformation, technology-driven investment also rises rapidly. Modern FDI now focuses increasingly on artificial intelligence, semiconductors, automation, and digital industries that can shape the future global economy. Facing these global changes, multinational corporations realize that international expansion is no longer just an option. In the modern economy, foreign investment becomes an essential strategy for maintaining competitiveness, resilience, and long-term growth. Today, Vietnam has become deeply integrated into global trade and investment networks. The country is increasingly viewed as an important manufacturing and export center within modern global supply chains. Vietnam's participation in major trade agreements such as CPTPP, EVFTA, and RCEP has further strengthened its investment attractiveness. These agreements create favorable conditions for international trade and help Vietnam connect more deeply with the global economy. In recent years, Vietnam has also begun shifting toward higher quality investment projects. High-tech industries such as semiconductors, electronics, artificial intelligence, and renewable energy are gradually becoming key sectors attracting foreign investment. Despite these achievements, many domestic enterprises still face significant limitations. Weak supporting industries, limited technology, and low international competitiveness continue to prevent local firms from participating deeply in global supply chains. At the same time, the growing demand for highly skilled workers creates new challenges for Vietnam's education and workforce development systems. Future industries increasingly require engineers, technology specialists, and highly trained professionals. Looking toward the future, Vietnam is entering a new stage of economic transformation. Competitiveness will no longer depend only on low labor costs, but also on technology, innovation, sustainability, and the country's ability to adapt to the changing global economy.